So, day 3, and today we're going to be starting our arms of our gargoyle. And the thing about the arms is, and I guess it's one of the first times I ever use this jointing, is what we're going to be doing is actually creating these little joints that are obvious elbow points by crocheting. Then we close down the rounds and then we reopen the rounds in which to continue. Now, this is the last day where you won't have to make a choice because what we're going to be doing is just crocheting the arms down to this point here before you're going to then decide whether you want to go for 2 toes, for 3 toes, which hands you want to finish your gargoyle off with. So tip number 1, when you're making the arms and when you're making the legs, and this will go for a lot of the pieces as well, what you need to do is leave yourself a long length like that before you tie your slip knot. And that's just because we will be sewing on these limbs using that length, and it saves you having to add it on again at the end. So leave yourself a length and then tie your slip knot. And this is going to be a different kind of start. So rather than starting from the 6 stitches in a ring that we started for the head, we're actually going to be doing a chain start, more similar to the way that you'd often make a hat or a scarf even, or a blanket, apart from the fact that we are joining it into the round again so that we can continue working in rounds. So we're going to chain 15. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So you'll have a long chain like that of these. Then what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch to join them into a circle, which is almost like our cast on if you are someone that's to use knitting terms. Now, the neatest and easiest way that I find to do this is I face all my V's in one direction like that. So you can see I've got all my V's to the front. I face them, like almost fold them in half with their 2 backs facing, and then I put my hook in through the one that's closest to the slip knot. So what I've actually done is put my hook in through the back of the one that's closest to the slip knot. So just to show you that again, that's my long length of chain, fold it in half, put it in through the back, and then I yarn over to slip stitch through that one and then through that one, and that has connected it into a little circle like that. So it's in a circle. And then what you need to do is turn and immediately crochet in here. So you're going to turn back in here and then double crochet into those chain stitches to form round 1. So you see you've got your chain stitches there like that. You put your hook into the middle of the chain and just crochet the first round from there. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. So that's round 1 complete. Just pause for a second, check you do have 15 before you carry on. What you can then do is put your stitch marker in. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of yarn like we did when we were doing our 6 in a ring at 12. I've done round 1, so I know I've got the right number of stitches. Put that in like that, and then carry on because we're not going to be doing any increasing or decreasing to begin with. We're just going to be doing a straight piece of working 1 into every stitch for the number of rounds stated. Now, just as I do the last 2 rounds before we actually create this joint, just to talk about really dealing with these smaller, skinnier rounds, because from now on in, as we approach the fingers and the feet, we are going to be dealing in smaller rounds. So first thing is double check again that you are definitely working with the right side facing outwards, because it will be much more fiddly for you if you're trying to work into the center of the circle. So just to recap how to make sure you are the right side out, the next next stitch that you're working always needs to be closest to your body, with the rest of the crochet work facing away from you. The other tip from me that you might notice in the way that I hold it is I'll often use my third finger almost pushed into the center of the round like that as I go round, because I find that that also pushes those stitches up towards me, so they're a little bit easier to work like that. So I've got my middle finger in the center of the piece as I go around. So I've finished that last round of the top of the arm, the bicep really, and then it does definitely look like a bicep when we put stuffing in later on. But what we're now going to do is we're going to create the elbow joint. So we've got 12 stitches at the moment, and what we're going to do is we're going to actually double crochet it closed across the top with 6 stitches before we then reopen it up to have 12 stitches again. So all the maths are nice. We're going from 12 down to 6 and then back up to 12. So what you need to do is put your hook into the next stitch that you would work. So as normal into your next stitch that you would work, but then bring that hook backwards into the last stitch that you worked to. So what you've got is the first stitch of this new round effectively, and then the last stitch that you just worked like that. So your hook is through both sides like that, and then double crochet through those both. So you've closed them off like that. Then do the same thing with the next two. So the stitch that's closest to you and then the stitch that's furthest away on the other side. So that's 2. Then on to the next one. 3. So through both sides of the stitches on the round like that. 4. 5. And 6. So you've closed it off totally. Effectively, if you put your finger up there, it's totally closed with a flat line on the end of it. But then what we're going to do is actually open it back up again into 12. But by folding it down and then opening it up, it creates a lovely elbow joint. So do you see how I've got my double crochet stitches there across the top, those 6 V's? What we're now going to do is put your hook into that one. So up through the back of the middle. So we're just going to be crocheting through the back bit of that one like that. So you go in and then double crochet that back half. So that's 1 stitch like that. Then the same thing on the next one. So if I just try and hold that so you can really see it. So do you see how that's your V's there, those double crochets? You're going to crochet just into the back half of that stitch like that. So that's 2, and then again, 3, 4, 5, and 6 like that. Then you turn it right round, and what you'll have left is the other half of those double crochet stitches. You see you've got those lines that are sitting there, and then what you're going to do is double crochet into those 2. So up under that line, so you're going into the other side of the stitch now, and double crochet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 from that side. And that means that you've now got 12 stitches again. You've got your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from one side, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12 with your 6 coming off the other side. So what you probably want to do is remove your stitch marker from where it was before and then pop it back in on the other side like that. So you've picked up from either side. Now you're going to double crochet 1 round before we're actually then going to increase again to carry on with the arm. So that is the only fiddly bit, really simple but really effective in terms of creating a joint. It's not just the gargoyle that uses this. I have used it on frog legs, basically anything where you want to be able to pose them or fold them up in a nice position. It's a really useful little technique for creating a joint that folds in half properly. So carry on and do the rest. Just to show you what it will then look like is that's your little joint created in the center. This one actually has its tracking stitch marker in it. So you can see, it comes all the way down one side, and then here, rather than remove it and put it back in like I did, I've left it in so you can see it jumps across the other side like that. So when you've finished today, what you need to do is break the yarn but leave it live. And what I mean by that is break the yarn because you're going to need your yarn to carry on to your second one. but leave it live. So don't pull it right the way through, just leave it with a loop like that and pop it down while you make the second one. That way you'll be able to rejoin and carry on when you've got to make your first choices tomorrow about how you are going to finish off your gargoyle's arms.